Put a little story out on Instagram, quoting, well, paraphrasing Ryan Holiday's quote from the book Ego is the Enemy. And I don't think it's his quote, he credits Danielle Bellelli, I think. And I'll put the quote on the screen so that when I butcher it, you have the original. Basically saying that training is like sweeping the deck. Just because we've swept once doesn't mean that the floor's clean forever. Every day or every week, the dust comes back. We must continually sweep. Not continually, you'll get nothing done otherwise, but you must maintain that cleanliness, maintain your training. So it goes into a lot of things, doesn't it? I was thinking about it, and that's the second time I've read that book now because I've got a massive ego and it needs put down a little bit. But it led on to loads of different thoughts. It reminds me of these guys who are, for want of a better term, has-beens. You know the ones you'll have come across them in life. In the gym is a good habitat for them, but they'll tell you about, and I just start zoning out when they say the numbers or the timings or whatever. I used to be able to do this, or I used to be able to bench this, or I used to be able to run a mile and a half in this. Like, I don't even compute the time or the weight, because as soon as you come out with that, I used to be like, so what? Like, can you do it now? Well then, what's stopping you? I used to shut the fuck up. You are only as good as today. That is it. Like, you are you now. I don't give a fuck what you used to be able to do. We all used to be able to do pull-ups and not muscle-ups, but pullovers and shit when we were kids in the park. You don't keep that. That's like the quote, innit? Yeah, you did sweep the floor once, but the dust came back. It's fucking atrocious. You've got a dirty room. And yeah, that's one of the thoughts. Also, it led me on to thinking about beginner gains. You know, the term beginner gains. So, and it's a good thing that it's a great thing for beginners to give them that confidence boost of, wow, I can see noticeable progress. Because you would, wouldn't you? That's the thing. If you've been training for many years, it's harder to see progress because your room's already clean. You can't clean it much more unless you're fucking on some stuff, if you know what I mean. Like, you've got the extra elbow grease. But if your room's dirty as fuck, it's nice to see. If you spend an hour sweeping, you made a difference. Like, Jesus, look at the difference I've made already. And that's like beginner gains. When you start, you get back on the horse and you start training, and you notice in the first month or two, wow, I've lost some weight or I've gained some muscle. Yeah, I've cleaned up a bit. And that's why it's daunting almost, isn't it? If you have had a long layoff and for whatever reason, from injury or just you took a different path, it can be overwhelming to start the task, like where to begin, especially with everything online and information coming at you from every angle, everyone claiming to be a fucking master or an expert. Information overload. So it's like looking at this dirty room, like one of those shows where they're hoarding stuff, the hoarding shows, and you think, where the fuck do I begin? That's like training, starting to train again. And it can be just a mind fuck because of the dust and the rust. And that's another good analogy, is the rust, because that's where the mobility comes in. I know that I felt that's what happened to me. That's part of my story. A lot of guys from the military our knees or shoulders or backs were fucked. And we never did any of the proper recovery, like stretching and stuff. You train basically like a fucking Olympic athlete on shit sleep and shit food, and you're expected to just keep going. And then when it's time to stretch, the PTI goes, right, stretch off in the showers, lads, yeah? And that's it. So you probably, it's your own fault, it's my own fault for not putting in the extra time, but I didn't know any better. So I left my mobility to rot, and that my mobility room was dirty as fuck, if you like. And I didn't even think where to begin because I wasn't looking at it. You push it under the rug, and but I know that you can still make a difference. Is I'm like oiling those joints. I'm getting rid of the rust slowly, but it is a mammoth task because like rust and like mobility, you have to work that much harder just to get to par, just to get what a normal human being should have mobility wise. All right, I've been training my mobility now for 1, 2, 3 years. Yep, good effort. Now you're on par with the average person who's had no injuries or not neglected their mobility. And yet, the last point that I was musing about was, again, being online, is everyone comparing rooms basically. Like, oh, look at my room. Look what I've got, the lamp in the corner. And getting like dusting and cleaning. It's only about your room, innit? If you're poor and you have a humble abode, but you take care of it, you should be proud of it, shouldn't you? As long as your room is cleaner than it was yesterday and tidier, then that's all you can do. You're trying to get your room as clean and tidy as possible, and that's your body, isn't it? That's your body of work, especially if you are, going off on a bit of a tangent there, but a PT or a coach or one of these masters or gurus, then your CV, your portfolio is your body, isn't it? So it shows, like the other quote, what you eat in private shows in public, or something like that. The hips don't lie. I'm coming out with all of them now. I think that'll do. Cheers.